This video is going to be divided into two parts, with this video being part 1 and then part 2 coming out next week. Reason being is that whenever I make my videos too long, some of you guys complain and almost nobody actually watches it to the end. So to make it easy for you guys and for myself, I'm just going to be breaking it into two parts. So enjoy the video. According to a study in 2015, with the exception of the millionaires and the billionaires, every single person that earns an income gets a majority of it from a category of income called compensation. This is where salaries lie, and 64% of people get their incomes from here, while 7% comes from business and 11% comes from investment. So basically, if we are to combine their income generating assets, it gives you a total of 17%. What this means is that a majority of their income comes from an employer, which means that if they were to retire today or even in a few years' time, or they get laid off by their employer, a majority of their source of income would be wiped off and they would have to reduce their standard of living in order to survive. This category is where most people fall into, which is probably you and every other person that you know. Now, let's take a look at where the top 1%, basically the millionaires, get their incomes from. Although the top 1% still get a good percentage of their income from compensations, their incomes from their businesses and investments combined far surpasses their salaries. Meaning, if they were to quit their jobs today or get laid off, nothing significant would change in their lives. Now, finally, taking a look at the top 0.1%, basically the people who are worth hundreds of millions or even the billionaires, a majority of their income comes from businesses and investments. And obviously, a salary isn't something they need to survive either. Now, like you've seen, the majority of the wealthy's incomes come from businesses they own and investments they have made, which means that they invest more of their time and their money in their businesses and investments. But I'd like to draw your attention to something some of you may have already noticed, is that the wealthy put more of their efforts into their investments, even more than businesses. That's because with putting a lot of money and time into investments, they're able to generate what's called passive income. What is passive income? Passive income is a form of income that you're able to get without doing any form of work. Basically, you're able to get it from doing absolutely nothing. This is why, according to the survey, 29% of the income generated by the top 1% is in investments. And you can also see that the top 0.1% invest in this sector even more heavily, with 35% of their income being generated from this category. Because of this, the wealthy are able to quote-unquote retire and are able to live without working again because they basically got free money coming in, as opposed to everyone else where their passive income is 11%. So with all this being said, the obvious way to be able to basically get free money for life is by increasing one's investment in passive income generating assets. But there is a problem. Most passive income generating assets that the wealthy invest in are quite expensive to get into, hence requiring a lot of capital to get started. Like for example, real estate or stocks that generate a dividend. The thing is, if most people, basically you and I, wanted to invest in these assets, it would be very difficult to do so. Take for example, real estate. To invest in real estate, you need tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars in order to get started. I'm sure most of you watching this video, including me making this video, don't have that type of money to get started. So with that being said, I'm going to be showing you a new type of passive income generating asset, which I strongly believe is the future of passive income, and a lot of people are starting to see it as well. And also, for now, the asset is still very affordable to get into, and people who get into it during these times will be able to get great returns on their investment. Now, what I'm talking about is cryptocurrencies that enable staking on their network. In case you do not know what staking cryptocurrencies are, They are cryptocurrencies that allow you to earn more of them just by holding on to them. For example, just imagine you earn more Bitcoin just by holding it. Basically, you're getting free money. That's exactly what staking cryptocurrencies are. You don't have to spend your original Bitcoin in this example, right? You're just getting the extra income from it, and it's from that you actually spend. So this is why the rich invest so much of their time and money in trying to grow their passive income portfolio. But like I said, it can be quite expensive to invest in traditional assets that give you free income. But with the advent of this technology, it levels the playing field because currently it is so easy to acquire these assets. Firstly, because they are very cheap, especially with the current downturn in the market. So what that means is that you'll be able to acquire a large quantity of these assets with a small amount of cash. And secondly, the barrier to entry is extremely low. Basically, you can start accumulating these assets today with the little cash that you've got, and you'll start earning passive income immediately you start accumulating these assets. So, how much of these coins do you need to hold in order to achieve financial freedom? Now, that totally depends on you and your financial situation and how much you actually need to make dollar-wise per month or per week in order to achieve financial freedom. And I'll be giving you guys a little presentation on how you can calculate that and visualize that shortly. Now, there are many staking cryptocurrencies out there that you can decide to do this with, and I'm going to be leaving a link to the top ones in the description below. But I'll say this, before you decide to start investing in any of these cryptocurrencies, make sure you do a thorough research on them, because this is something you intend on holding onto for a lifetime and passing it down to your kids and your grandkids. So you want to make sure that these are going to stand the test of time. Now, how do you do that? First thing you want to do is take a look at what that cryptocurrency is trying to solve. And you can do this by checking the project's website. You can also check platforms like Messari and Binance Research. I'm going to have their links in the description below. And also, you can also still do this by watching YouTube videos about them as well. YouTube has the greatest library for anybody to learn anything on. Another great and effective way of finding out about these projects and the core values that they offer is by watching interviews held with their founders. They tend to also give a concise and clear insight into their projects. Once you have a clear understanding of these projects and the value that they offer, you can start to see if this is a project that a lot of people are going to be using and if it's something that's going to be here for a long time or not. Now, let me put things into perspective. There are many cryptocurrencies out there that offer these massive opportunities. But one of the cryptocurrencies that I have done an extensive research on, and I strongly believe has a very great potential, and not only does it have great potential, it's also currently severely underpriced. That cryptocurrency is called Cardano. Now, before moving to that, let me quickly show you guys an example on how to calculate what your passive income will be in order to retire early, or in order to quit your job, or in order to basically do whatever you want to do. You need to sit down with a pen and paper to analyze these things, and you need to have a plan in order to pull it through. Alright guys, so part 2 will be coming out next week. In the meantime, watch these videos in order to help you understand much more about this topic, and I'll be seeing you guys next week. Cheers.